I'm Shoestring Jay and welcome back to my channel where I mainly stroke cats. Maybe not. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and money saving. And you can go away now, Lola. I'm surrounded by boxes, as you can see, because we have an imminent house move. Nevertheless, I have been still focusing on trying to save money and frugality, and this week I thought I would share 5 frugal things that I have done this week. So my first one is going to be buying a book second-hand online. I didn't buy it through Amazon. I do use Amazon because sometimes I need to. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I try to buy from elsewhere as well and spread it. And this was about £2. Was it £2? £2.99, free postage, which is crazy, isn't it? It's a very old book, but it's one that people still talk about and think is a good book. It's called A Doctor's Home Cure for Arthritis, and it's by Dr. Giro, I think that's how you pronounce it, Campbell, and it's endorsed by Marguerite Patton, who is a well-known cook here in the UK. And you'll know that I have mentioned many times in other videos that I'm struggling with pain, particularly my hands and my feet. I was investigated for rheumatoid arthritis. I recently was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which is a hyperthyroid disease, which is an autoimmune disease. Rheumatoid arthritis is also an autoimmune disease. So I really started getting worried, and the doctors did take me seriously, that this might be rheumatoid arthritis developing alongside that. But it wasn't, thankfully. I got the test back and that was negative. But the pain is still there, or was still there. It is still there, but it has definitely got better. I haven't started this properly. It's a 7-day program, and you start with a fast day. Then you eat just raw fruit and vegetables for a day, and then you gradually start to introduce other foods. But you cut out completely alcohol, sugar, gluten. What else do you cut out? Caffeine, and a few other things, and then you focus on eating nutrient-dense foods. So I thought, well, I just can't do that all in one go. I think, especially when I'm trying to house move, if I immediately give up caffeine in particular. I don't drink lots and lots of caffeine. I already drink lots of decaffeinated drinks, but my morning tea has got caffeine in it, and then my morning coffee has got caffeine in it. And I thought, oh, it's going to be too much just to do it all in one go. So I have been gradually cutting the caffeine and replacing it with decaffeinated drinks and herbal teas. I like chamomile and mint tea. And I've been replacing my morning coffee with a decaf coffee. Eventually I want to try a turmeric latte. I did manage to get some, I think it was ginger I didn't have, so I've got all the ingredients I need for a turmeric latte today. That could be something I actually make today. And I've stopped drinking alcohol. Now, again, I didn't drink a lot of alcohol. I'm not somebody who goes out boozing. I'm a real lightweight. However, me and Justin have a real habit of an evening glass of wine or an evening gin and tonic, and it is a habit. So I have stopped that. That's gone. I've knocked that on the head. I've cut right back on gluten, and I've cut right back on sugar. I haven't cut either of them out completely as of yet. But nearly. I mean, I've not eaten any bread or pasta or anything for probably 3 or 4 weeks now. But I am still having the odd biscuit and cracker. Mostly I'm having rice cakes and oat cakes. But the oat cakes I've got are not gluten-free, so they've got reduced gluten. The odd Ryvita type thing as well. So I've cut back a lot. And I have really noticed since I cut out caffeine and alcohol that the pain in my thumbs has abated. It's still there. I'm not saying it's not there and I still feel stiff, but it's definitely abated. I was limping. One of my feet was really bad. I think you'll have seen it in a holiday vlog we did. I was really, really struggling with it. It was so painful. You can't get away from pain in your foot. And the doctor looked at that and said, I think that's arthritis too. So, I've gotten motivated. I know some people are absolutely crippled with arthritis, and I don't want to be. My mum has had both of her hips replaced. She should really have both of her knees replaced, but she can't face it at this point. She's 87. So I don't want that to happen. So if if it means giving things up and eating differently, then I think I'm willing to do that. So this book was a frugal way into eating the way that I want to try. And I'll be really interested to hear if anybody else has done this. I know a lot of people say keto. I have done keto and found it was brilliant. I lost weight without trying. And not that I needed to lose a lot of weight, but I lost a bit of belly fat, which is what I do need to lose. And I did find it helped a bit. I think the lack of sugar really helped me a bit with that. But my arthritis wasn't as bad when I did it. But I did find it was very expensive, and I found it felt too much fat for me, and I really missed things like porridge, and I found it very restrictive. And although what I'm saying is quite restrictive, it feels easier to kind of fit into a normal diet. So I don't want to go back to doing keto, even though I think it is actually brilliant in many ways, particularly if you have a lot of weight to shift. I think it is very good. And I have a friend called Mickey, and she swears by it, and she has rheumatoid arthritis. So for her, it stops her getting hardly any flare-ups at all, and it's been really, really helpful. I think for me, it would be a last resort. So if I can do this first, that would be really good. So this is what I bought. It was £3. Abe Books, I think it was, maybe. Or World Books. No, it was Abe Books. So, you can get a lot of good books secondhand. Something very specific like this is hard to pick up in a charity shop, so you do have to go trawling the internet for it. And I've actually also bought the Marguerite Patton, because I thought, well, if she's endorsing this, she will probably have done some recipes on it, because the recipes in this book are hideous. They look awful. And yes, she did. So I found an old book. Again, that was about £3. That's on its way. I haven't received that yet. So that's the first of my 5 frugal things. The second of my frugal things for this week is that I have been buying on Vinted. And one of the things I bought was this makeup, Bye Bye Under Eye. This is my old one, actually. As you can see, it's kind of coming to the end. And I saw it was coming to the end, and I think I haven't ever bought it. I think I was given the first one because we have a family member who works in makeup. She's an influencer, so she sometimes has stuff and she gives us big bags of makeup, and it's quite handy. We don't have to buy much. And she gave me the first one of these, and I do get a lot of kind of shadows under my eyes, and it was one of the few things that seemed to make any difference whatsoever. So I then asked for it for a birthday. My daughter bought it for me. Lasts for ages, even though it's a tiny tube. But say I'm coming to the end of it, and I thought, I wonder how much it costs. And I looked on all the websites, and it seemed to be around £20. It's not a big tube, is it? So I thought, nah, but I can get it cheaper. And I looked on Vinted, and there was a lady on there, and she'd opened it, used it once, which I don't think you're allowed to do on Vinted. It's supposed to be new, but as a result, only charged £6 for it. So £6 with about £1.50 postage, I think it was. So £7.50 for something that would have cost me £22. It's always worth looking for random stuff on Vinted. I think it's a really good place. And then I bought something else as well, which I'll show you. So another of my Vinted buys this week were these very basic, baggy, a bit retro jeans from Marks and Spencer's, originally for £4. I struggle so much with jeans because I've got really skinny legs and a bit of a belly and no bum, so I can't wear really fitted jeans. They just look ridiculous, and they tend then not to fit me around the waist, so they'll have to go for a baggier version, which I don't really like. But these ones are, I think they're okay, and for £4 can't complain really. So the next of my 5 frugal things that I've done this week is, as the weather's not been warm enough really most of the time anyway to get laundry outside. I did manage to get some out last week, but this week it's been a bit damp, so it's back in here. It's in the spare room. As you can see, we are packing for our move, so I've got some things in here as well that are kind of packed or semi-packed, but there's still space for this. I have 2 of these areas. So this is the other one. I've just finished the underwear off on that one, but when I've got sheets and bigger things, I tend to use that one, or sometimes I have them both. So This is obviously much cheaper than running a tumble dryer. I don't have a tumble dryer, and what I do is I keep the window, I don't know if you can see, it's slightly open, you can probably hear the car go by, slightly open to get rid of some of the humidity. And then in the real depths of winter, because I know that this creates condensation in the house, I have a dehumidifier that's actually packed at the moment because I don't think we're going to need it in the next couple of weeks. So we have a dehumidifier and we use that to just kind of warm the air and dry the air out, and stop any mold and condensation. So it's still much cheaper to run than a tumble dryer. So you can put it on, actually has a setting that you can put on to dry clothing. So I don't use that very often, but occasionally I do. So that's the next of my 5 things that I have done this week to save money. I've been quite excited to finally be able to try out the heated blanket. I bought this myself with some birthday money that I got back in April, and it's been just brilliant for when I'm sitting working at my laptop or in the evening. So you just switch it on. I'll put it on 4, but that's actually probably too much. And then you can put the temperature up and down here. So I could put it down to 3 maybe. And then you can put a timer on. So I could put it on for 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour. And then it's so snuggly, even without the heat, actually. This is such a nice throw. So this is me in the evening watching TV. It's quite hard to stay awake, actually, but it's so good. They say heat yourself and not the whole room. So what we need next is for Justin to get one of these. I mean, he can snuggle under here as well, there is space, but for him to get one too. So we've got one each, we can sit where we want, and we've both got one. So that could be something that Father Christmas brings him, I think. This is the appliance that is probably getting the most use in the kitchen at the moment. I'm rarely using the main oven because it costs a fortune to run, and I can see on my smart meter exactly what things are costing me. It's quite this morning at the moment, so haven't used very much. You can see I'm not having the heating on in the morning at the moment. The 31p was just to heat the water today. So avoiding using the electric oven. I can do all sorts in my air fryer. As you can see, it's not massive. It's actually quite old. It's gone a bit icky at the bottom, but it's fine. I might get some liners for it. I have seen those. And I've just got a fairly basic model, a One Chef model. You can get all kinds of fancy ones, but honestly, this does the job for me and Justin. I don't need a massive one. If you had a family, you would probably need a bigger one. Yesterday, I did jacket potatoes, which I started in the microwave for about 6 minutes, I think 6 or 7 minutes. It would depend on the size of your potato. And then I finished them off in here for 10 minutes. So that was obviously a lot less time than it would be in the oven. You're looking at 45 minutes to an hour in the oven, aren't you? I also cooked a couple of little peppers that I got in my £1.50 little box this week, which were really nice, just kind of roasted. They just went in for the last 8 minutes. And then I did some salmon in the microwave. I could have done that in here as well, but obviously it was full of other things. This in the microwave takes 4 or 5 minutes, much cheaper than doing any other means. I did still do my broccoli on the hob because we had broccoli with it. I'll show you last night's dinner. It was really delicious, and I wasn't alarmed by how much the smart meter went up, as I am when I ever use the oven. So this is going to be my first attempt at making a turmeric latte. Also my first attempt at drinking a turmeric latte, so I might hate it. Let's see. Go ahead, this is what I'm going to use. So I'm using oat milk from Lidl, and just powdered ginger, powdered cinnamon, turmeric, some vanilla extract. The recipe says maple syrup, I don't have any, so I'm going to use honey. And apparently a grind of black pepper. I think that actually activates the turmeric. Somebody in my comments told me that the other week, so that must be why. Let's give it a go. The recipe calls for 350 millilitres of almond milk. I've used oat milk. It doesn't really matter. It actually says any milk of your choice, so you could use cow's milk if you wanted to. And then a quarter of a teaspoon, which is this little one, of turmeric, about that. I guess I should put the milk in first, really, shouldn't I? Let's put milk in. Oh, it's gone nice and orange. 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, the same of cinnamon. It's very kind of Christmassy, isn't it? And the same of ginger. My daughter has done this. She sorted out all my herbs and spices because I had multiple containers of them, and she's tidy. This is Isabel, who you will have seen in the air fryer review just recently. And then 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I did buy a proper vanilla extract, but it's only from Aldi, I think the pantry is, isn't it? Or Lidl, not sure. 1/2 teaspoon of that. That is 1/2 teaspoon, isn't it? Yep. It's nice and syrupy. 1 teaspoon of maple syrup, but I'm using honey. So I'm not going to use this little thing because it's not going to be able to measure it. It's quite nice for drizzling it over porridge, but not so good for this. And then finally a grind of black pepper. So not too much. And then whisk it all together. And then I will continue whisking that over a low heat and come back to you in a minute. So I made the turmeric latte, and here is my first taste of it. It's really nice. That smells like and tastes like autumn and Christmas with all those cinnamony type flavours. That's actually delicious. I'm definitely going to be making that again. I really like it. I'll link the recipe below. Very good. That can replace my coffee. Oh, I loved that turmeric latte so much. It was really comforting. I think it would be a nice bedtime drink as well, actually. It was like a really good creamy rice pudding, but without the rice. So it was really delicious. I really recommend you give it a go. So I hope you enjoyed my 5 frugal things that I've done this week. If you did, don't forget to give me the thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel. I do appreciate those that do. And I will see you next week, or actually probably on Wednesday. Bye for now.